Welcome back, everybody, to Paranormal New Normal presents Paranormal Primetime. Yeah, that's right, we're back once again to talk two more episodes of the greatest paranormal show of all time, Supernatural. We apologize for missing last week, but there was more important present things that had to be taken care of. So we're back this week to take care of two more episodes, and we're getting closer and closer to the end of the first season, and it's building up. Shit's building up at this point. So,
It'll get
but
exciting.
it's getting exciting. But how you doing this week, Malachi?
Doing good. How about you?
Can't complain. I am definitely. I mean, this week's episodes, honestly, I'm not too excited about, but I am excited for what's coming, and that's something different. So I'm definitely excited for what's coming in this. But this week's episodes were okay. They were okay. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed them somewhat, but they weren't the best thing in the world.
Yeah, the one I'm running down definitely different than the norm.
Yeah, it's a first. That's for fuck. It's a first and maybe only time, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But I could
I
be wrong.
I think it might be. Yeah, I think it might actually be.
But why don't you get right down into that on the first episode we're doing this week and tell people what it's about?
Okay, so we got season 1, episode 15, The Benders. This takes place in Hibbing, Minnesota. The writer was John Shibben and director Peter Ellis. I think he might have been the creator too, right? Or is that
I don't know.
might have been no. Okay,
What?
so the one you're doing, it was written by the creator. Mine's not. But so we start off this episode. A kid is watching Mr. Jenkins outside of his window late one night, and this dude gets pulled under the car. Uh, then we see Sam and Dean dressed as state troopers. I think that might have been the first. My wife was saying that had happened before, but
We did. We did.
okay. And Dean finally breaking some ice. He's talking about Mothra with the kid. And the only thing they really get out of it is they heard a whining gull when the dude was taken. So the dad had a folklore dark creature abducting people, and there were a ton of missing persons report in this location. And then Sam, leaving the bar one night while they're investigating, he gets taken by a cat. He sees a cat, and the cat fucking takes him out of nowhere. Then the journal, their dad's journal, is left on the top of the car.
Mm-hmm.
When the cop runs Sam's name, this was kind of fun. So in the police report, it has Sam and Dean as the same height. So Dean is 6'4", which is bullshit because he's way shorter than Sam, and he's weighing 175 pounds. Born January 24th, 1979, died from a couple episodes back ago on March 7th, 2006. I think Sam had, I thought I wrote that down. I think Sam has like 30 pounds on Dean, but in the police report, they're the same fucking height. And I know Sam's a little bit more jacked, but like
Well, I
they're
mean,
pretty close.
if they ask, you're gonna lie about your shit so that they can't find you, and they probably fluctuate in weight. I mean, they're living on the road. They probably fluctuate in weight all the time based on what they're eating.
Yeah. Well, so when Dean goes and asks the cop says that Sam's brother died in St. Louis, referring to Dean, and the dad's wanted for murder. So she's like,
Which
"Whoa, you got a fucked up family, dude."
which had me questioning were they trying to say that did Dad murder Dean?
I don't think so. I think the dad was wanted for murder for something else.
Mm,
Probably like hunting something and
yeah, probably.
killing somebody. But
Yeah.
Sam wakes up in a rebar cage, and there's the dude they're looking for right next to him. So the cop, we saw this flash to a highway patrol cam, and the cop finds this old camper, and it has new plates. And they're talking about that, and then Dean hears the van with the whining noise. So it's not the old camper, it's this fucking van, and he hears
Okay.
that whining growl. So then we flip to Sam, and he's like, "What are they? Are they vampires? Are they what kind of crazy creature is it?"
I believe they mentioned
And
werewolf. Oh no, no, never mind. That's next episode.
well, he finds out they're just people, and he says, "I'll be damned, just people." So then Dean, which I have no idea why the hell he's riding around with this cop, but the cop finds out Dean is not Gregory or black because Dean is using the ID of a black man.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, are those the cops they knocked out in a couple episodes ago?
I have no idea.
Because one of the cops they knocked out a few episodes ago was African American. So
It might have been. It weren't they? They were state troopers, though, right? So I'm not sure if those people they knocked out were state troopers, but it could be. I wasn't paying close enough attention.
I wasn't either, but I was just the thought crossed my mind. I'm like, was that the cops they knocked out that they took the IDs of? Like, Jesus Christ! Like,
It
yeah,
could be. Yep.
if you're
That
gonna
would
go
be
through the
good
trouble,
continuity.
I mean, if you're gonna go through the trouble of knocking out a cop and getting yourself in shit to begin with, you might as well take their badges too, just so you fucking have like an ID in the future.
Yeah, but Dean should have chose the white guy, not the black dude. Um, but then Dean pleads with the fucking cop, and the cop looks at a photo of it was her brother. Like we were arguing back and forth, was it her husband or brother? It turns out to be the brother. And Jenkins. Now we flash back to Sam and Dean, or Sam and Jenkins stuck in the fucking hillbilly saw fortress, and Jenkins falls for the escape trap, and he finds a knife. So he's running around with this knife, like, yeah, I'm free. Then the hillbillies spear him, and that's the end of Jenkins.
I don't know why you were so excited. That knife was rusty as shit, and it wouldn't stab anything and get it done.
Yeah, I would have been super quiet leaving there. I probably would have climbed a tree and like
I I I,
fucking.
I think
I
he was
wouldn't
just
have
stupid.
ran.
I think he was stupid enough to think that he just got a freak pass out. That like he
Yeah,
got lucky. I don't think he realized what it was.
but Sam definitely knew. Like, hey, dude, this is a trap. Just get back in your fucking cage, which probably would have saved him at the end of the episode.
No, no, they would have. They probably would have dragged him out of the cage and then killed him anyway.
Yeah, you're probably right. But so then the cop locks Dean to a door with the handcuffs, and she sees the truck camper, goes for the house. There's a creepy girl answering the door, and the cop gets knocked out by Daddy. So now we're like full on um, Texas Chainsaw Massacre shit going on here.
Yeah, that was funny. That was funny as shit when the girl was laughing. She's like, "What's funny?" And he's like, "Oh, that's gonna hurt." She fucking gets nailed. Like I was laughing my ass off at that shit. Like, I, this is another one of those episodes I did not remember seeing until I watched it again.
I didn't either. Yeah, this one totally eluded me. But then we have the dramatic scene where the brothers are coming down to get the cop car, and Dean's locked to lock to the door handle, and hold on, kids playing with Rupp. No more, bud. No more. And then it's back and forth. Can Dean reach the antenna and uncuff himself before the brothers come? And if you've seen till later episodes, you know Dean's not going to be skewered there.
Nope.
But then Sam remembered we flash back to the cop and Sam locked up in the cage, and Sam remembered the brothers' black Mustang, seeing it out there. So then we got Dean walking through full on fucking Hills Have Eyes display. We got eyeballs and wieners and whatever the hell else in little mason jars. Pretty crazy.
Hip bones hanging like wind chimes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then the brothers, Dean finds the little girl, and he's trying to shush, and then the brothers find him, and Dean is holding his own, dude.
Oh,
He's
I mean, it would have pissed me off if he didn't. It would have pissed me off a lot if he didn't.
yeah, he's keeping up, but then the dad gets the best from him from behind, hits him in the head, and then Dean says to hunt the guy. Kid goes down to shoot them both. Oh, okay, yeah. They wanted to hunt the kid, and then the dad's like, "No, we're not playing games anymore. We got a cop. Just go down and fucking shoot them both." But Sam escapes, beats the brother, and dad and the other boy go to finish the job. Sam pulls the fuses. Now we got fucking Hills Have Eyes on the rednecks out there. Lady Cop jumps from the ceiling when the dad and brother walk in and does some crazy ass jujitsu shit, like dropping leg lock neck shit, and falls to the floor. Son ends up shooting his dad because we just want to put it out there that all rednecks are stupid. And then they lock him up and leave the cop. The cop shoots the dad square in the face. Like, fuck this dude. And
we don't see that. That's off camera. But
we don't see it, but it's implied. And then, the cop tells Sam and Dean to get out of here before the fucking cops come.
And yeah, it's funny as shit because Dean's like, you think we can get a ride back to the interstate and back to my car? And Sam's like, and she's like, you better start walking. Sam's like, oh, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. like Sam always being the smarter of the two, but yeah, I will say
Dean was really pushing his luck, dude. Begging after he found out that she found out he wasn't a cop, and then that whole thing's unbelievable. But
it gets to a point eventually in the show where the writers just make you believe that they can start telling people what they really are, and that people believe them. They are not at that point yet, so they can't just tell cops like, "Oh, we're hunters of monsters." Like they can't do that yet because it's not that believability point yet. I think it actually has something to do with how the paranormal became more normal eventually. No, no dropping my name in my podcast here. But eventually, I think it has something to do with paranormal becoming the new normal in the world. And I think more people are accepting that creatures exist that they can't explain.
Well, and this one wasn't even, like, that was the weird thing about the cop, right? Is like, this one wasn't even one where the cop finds out there's fucking monsters in the world. They're just straight up missing person on this whole one. Go bring this into your family.
Two-handed. I was thinking this whole episode, this is reminiscent of, which is weird, because I could have swore when I turned this episode on, the description on Netflix is something about people who are able to bend shadows. And I'm like, I thought that's why it was called The Benders. But apparently not. Like, I kept waiting for the supernatural ability to come out of nowhere on this one. But I'm like, what the fuck? But it's reminiscent of the X-Files episode Home, where it's one of the only times that Mulder and Scully also face like an all-human villain rather than a supernatural villain. And I I think they were paying tribute to it in a way. I really do. I mean, and I'm pretty sure it's the first and only time, if I'm not mistaken, that Sam and Dean fight a non-supernatural being, like in an
I
episode.
think you're right. And I've never watched the X Files. My dad liked it for a little bit, but I've never actually seen the X Files.
Oh,
But
years
it
down
is
the
one you
road,
have to throw in, right? Like
years,
it's
years in the future when we finish Supernatural, that's the show we're going to next is X Files because it's if you especially if you've never seen it, dude. Then we got the Virgin and the Pro fucking technique here. That'd be amazing. But
well, that would have
uh,
been great if Michael would have done the podcast too, right? Like
I
I don't
know,
know why
but
he backed out.
mm, I just don't think he has time to watch 13 seasons of a show or 15 seasons of a show. But I mean, even at two a week, like there are weeks where I struggle to find time to watch 2 episodes. So it's life. But and there was another first in this one because it was the first time you see Dean's Godzilla love, which that comes up again.
Oh
That comes up
yeah,
again.
yeah.
And I mean, it kind of pissed me off. I'm gonna say that Sam got taken like that. Because Sam's smarter than that. He knows not to fall for shit. And the fact that he's got taken like that kind of pissed me off. I was like, come on, he's better than that.
Well, and how did they take him? Like this whole hitting people over the head shit, like that doesn't just knock you out instantly, right? Like did they drug him? Like how did this happen?
I mean, there's two of them. They could have easily overpowered him.
Oh fuck
Well,
no, Dean was kicking ass, dude.
but
Sam's
that's
like
different. Dean was
on Dean.
Dean was in a living room during the day. He wasn't in an alley outside of a bar in the dark at night. That's a different story.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
I
what.
think Sam could have taken him.
Well, I think. See, that would have been a great scene, but they just didn't put it in. Of like, I want to see the scene of Sam trying to fight them off and then getting taken. Like, I want to see that. But
But with this episode. I remember me and my wife were watching it, and she was instantly thinking shapeshifter because you just see the cat, right?
yeah,
Like
I
you
mean,
see the cat, you see Sam gets taken, and then Dean comes out and it's the cat. And you're thinking like, well, paranormal, this has got to be like shapeshifters or something.
you would. I mean, with the whole description on Netflix, I thought it was something like that. But I kept
Oh,
watching. And I was like, yeah.
I didn't read the description.
I mean, I always read it really fast because it's only a sentence, for God's sake. It's not like it's a long thing. But I mean, I don't know. But, and yeah, I love that it was another case of Dean getting caught in his lies. Like, there's a long standing thing on this show of Dean getting caught in lies constantly. Because he's not
Yeah,
a great liar. He's not a great liar. His face gives him away. Like, you could tell he's lying when he lies. Sam's better at it. Sam's better at,
no
like, getting
more
people to
later.
believe. Sam's definitely better at getting people to believe he's telling the truth. But
Oh yeah, Dean's like a
and
bull in the china shop.
mhm, he's there to kill monsters and take names. That's all he gives a shit about. But I and this was also a kind of a nod to the hell's God damn, I just had it. Oh, the most dangerous the most dangerous game. It's a famous novel, well, short story from the early 1900s.
Oh yeah,
It,
Island Motion. Ah,
no. You're thinking of Doctor Morbo's Secret Island, or where the hell it is.
yeah,
But
yeah.
no, the most dangerous
Like
game is
hunting people. No.
the most dangerous game is a short story that came out in, like the 1910s about a rich man that brings people to his island to hunt them, and they've done a couple. I think they've done a couple movies up based on it back in the day, but it's a famous short story about like people trying to hunt people because it's the most dangerous game because they can actually be intelligent and think back about how to survive.
Yeah,
But
and I honestly believe our elites actually do that shit.
um, but yeah, I mean, it was I like the hillbilly manhunt thing. Like, I mean, the daughter was creepy as shit, and I was thinking like there's like incest, inbreeding shit going on there all along. Like that's all I was thinking when I saw the daughter. because I'm like, okay, there's some fucking hillbilly incest going on in this shit. There has to be, but either her brothers or her father or something. Like Jesus, there has to be. If it wasn't a CW TV show, if it was a movie, it probably would have got more into that. But yeah, I mean it's, and then I mean, but they're hillbillies, so they're stupid enough to kidnap a fucking cop. You don't kidnap cops. That's just a way to get caught.
Yeah,
And
I mean, they were going for what, like 40 years over, the dad had said, like, I did it when I was a kid. Like, how the hell did they not get caught, right?
well,
Because it
before
was
the
even
internet,
in Sam and Dean's journal, though, like their dad's journal, there were hundreds of missing persons. And,
well,
like,
they didn't say hundreds. They just said this area has more missing persons than any area around it, and that which I mean it's the middle of nowhere, so there could be nests of vampires or dens of werewolves. Who the fuck knows? But it's so I mean that's why it's a good area for them to do it because even the police, even the officer said when they were driving down the road, she's like, oh, it's all private roads around here for people who live out this
mhm.
far. So that's exactly why things like Hills Have Eyes and Texas Chainsaw Massacre works, is because out in that territory, there's people don't bother each other because they're miles apart. Like they're tens of 20s of miles apart. Like they don't bother each other. It's just you're not gonna drive 10 miles to your neighbor's house just to say hi. Like you don't bother each other. That's all there is to it. So
Well,
it's
you got to imagine how many missing 411s are, like, to this type of shit.
that wasn't a thing back then though. Like back then, people didn't go looking for people. If they went missing, they went missing. Like it wasn't like a. It's not like
No, no,
today
I'm
where
talking about, like, in real life, though. Like,
well, even in real life, back in the 70s, 80s, that's why like Dahmer and Gacy and them got away with it for so long is because back then people didn't go looking for people like that because there wasn't technology to find them. Like it was
yeah.
just they're gone, they're gone. They ran away from home or whatever until they found a body. Like they didn't there was no way to find people back then, so that type of shit worked for a long time. This episode basically shows that time became too modern and you're not gonna get away with it anymore. Like
Yeah.
even in the back roads, like where they lived, they're not gonna get away with that anymore.
Well, if
Like
Sam
eventually,
and Dean are on the case.
well, I mean exactly that too, but I'll give it to the police officer. She actually wasn't stupid. She wasn't. They not portray a stupid cop not want to listen to what people said. Like she knew something was up because of her brother being taken, and I mean, it's just she wasn't stupid. She knew something was going on. I think as soon as she saw the house, she was like, "Oh shit, what the fuck I walk into?" But she should have called for
Yeah, I
backup.
think.
She should have called for
Oh yeah,
backup as soon as she saw the fucking truck. She should have called for backup. But
that I was screaming the same thing at the TV. Like, she locks
like
Dean to
call.
the car, and then, like,
Uh,
what, you think these people are eating people, and you're just gonna fucking
well,
knock on the door?
she didn't know what they were doing. That's the thing. She didn't know what they were doing, but she just. I mean,
She
obviously, she never saw anything.
assumed.
I don't think she ever saw anything like this before, so she didn't know what to expect. But still, if I saw the same car I suspected of taking people at a house, and like it's a creepy redneck house in the back of the woods, like I would 100% be calling like backup, like okay, suspicious house with vehicle suspected of trafficking, need to get back up here.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah. No, for sure.
nowadays there's 100% against police protocol not to do that, but back in the early 2000s, maybe in that kind of area, maybe it wouldn't have been against police protocol. I don't
Oh,
fucking
dude,
know.
back in the 2000s, redneck cop like that, they would have fucking just
Eh,
busted in there and, like, fuck you, say something. Let's see how that goes.
and I will say I found it funny as shit when Dean's in the basement and he's like trying to find a way to get Sam and the police out, and he's like demons. I get humans are just fucking crazy,
Yeah.
but and I
Yeah,
mean
I
it's
think that was the only Hills Have Eyes episode we get. So
it is, and I mean, and I will give a props to Dean for being able to recognize a car because like that because I could look at a 20 cars and I wouldn't be able to tell you the difference between besides the color between one against the other. So props. I give props to do and I can't do that and he can do it. So fuck yeah. And And it is classic Hills Have Eyes when like Dean asks like the father, "Why do you do this?" And he's like, "Because it's fun."
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesus.
And I guarantee you there are people out there like that.
There,
110%.
I guarantee there are just less nowadays than there was years ago. I think years ago people could get away with a lot more and like they did a lot more. But these days people can't get away with shit because the internet's a real thing and you can report anybody for anything nowadays. So I don't fucking think it's easy to get away with shit as much as it used to be. Even in the middle of
Well,
nowhere like
yeah, and
that.
then you got the little girl in that scenario, and it's like, but I got TikTok, Dad. I don't want to hunt people.
I mean that well, she seemed like she enjoyed the hunting. She seemed like she would enjoy the hunting in a couple years when she got older. But I and that's another thing that pissed me off. They don't say anything about what happened to the little girl. Like they said like you're sitting there trying to assume like did they knock her out? Did they tie her up? What the hell did they do to her?
Yeah, no, it was
It
an
was a mystery.
interesting episode, at least.
It it was fun to see something not supernatural on Supernatural. I'll say like it was just a basic like people are biggest monsters episode, which is a good message, but still like it's but folks I guess that
Oh, hold up, we got to rate it. What did you
oh,
rate that one?
honestly I'd
Shit, I
give it a
didn't.
4 out. I'd give it a 4 out of 5 just because of the no supernatural creature thing. Like just because it's a human episode. I mean, if I wanted to watch pick a cop show, I'll watch a cop show. But
Yeah,
that's I mean but it had the horror movies. It had the horror movie elements of horror. I love backwoods horror movies. So I will give it a 4 out of 5 just for that element they had of like a backwoods horror movie like Hills Have Eyes or even Jeepers Creepers or one of those type movies.
I would agree with you 100% on that rundown. And I fucking hate cop shows like CSI or Bones or any of that shit.
I
Like,
I like cop shows. I mean, I fucking love cop shows, but and if they're
I
done
like
right. But
cops, but I don't
no,
like cop shows.
I mean, I watched 911 because I like the cop element of it. I've watched a lot of cop shows over the years, and a lot of the great ones got canceled for one season because TV sucks. But it is what it is. But I like a good cop show. But I mean, if it has a good storyline and like shit like this, but this one was just I don't know a cop show with Sam and Dean. I would almost pay to see that. I mean, what we got that. We got Jared Padalecki playing Tech Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah, I
We
watched
got
Sam in that show you were talking about. I'm not gonna continue watching, but
oh I stopped it after like the second season. I think it just I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. It was good to see him in something, but it's not like watching Jensen Ackles and the boys. Like it's not as entertaining.
yeah, I watched like the first episode, and it was like,
No, the
I don't
storyline
know
was
what
good.
you guys are doing here.
The story. I mean, it was. I mean, the fact that trying to make him live up to Chuck Norris's legacy is the ridiculous part. Like that should never got a remake because it was fucking Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
There's a fist
To be
underneath his
honest
beard.
with you, though, like I watched these episodes a week and a half ago by now.
Yep.
Like that has been the only TV I've watched in the past 2 weeks. So
I don't get much time. I watch what I watch, but I don't get much time. I watch more movies than anything nowadays.
yeah,
But folks, that brings us to the next episode, and that episode is season 1, episode 16, Shadow, which this episode had promise. It did, and it kind of delivered. Kind of delivered. It starts off with a girl leaving her job. Well, they don't really show where she's leaving. They show this girl walking down the road in the dark, and she goes down an alleyway and she's listening to music, but she gets like an eerie feeling. So she takes her headphone out, and oh no, her music player, where the fuck it was, I don't know if it was an iPod or what, but I forget what was around back then. But it dies, and she hears something whispering her name. So she starts running home, and as she's running home, you see behind her in the alley wall this hand pop up as a shadow with almost like Freddy Krueger like fucking like fingers. Which I was like, what the hell? Are they trying to do like Freddy Krueger like hands in this thing? And she gets home and she thinks she's safe, and then she starts taking everything off and whatnot, and all of a sudden she gets attacked and torn to shreds, literally. And it ends there. And the next day, Sam and Dean show up and are investigating it because she's the second person to get attacked like that in this town. Which I don't. What town was it in? I did not write that.
Uh,
I I got the
shit, I didn't
supernatural
write
one.
it down either.
Um, Chicago, Illinois. Yeah, it's Chicago.
Okay.
So, but yeah, she's in Chicago, and an older man was attacked first, and then her, and like Sam and Dean show up at pretending to be alarm specialists from an alarm company to try to figure out why the alarm didn't go off when something broke in to kill her, which it didn't go off because nothing broke into the fucking apartment to kill her. Like nothing broke in technically. It's a shadow. It was Sam and Dean put together with tape the symbol that the blood outlines the outlying body parts and blood left, and it becomes this. It shows the symbol of something that they later find out is called the Deva, which is a
I will I will interject. This was the first for trans hate. The black lady says to Dean, "You're about as useful as boobs on a man." I thought that was fun.
Mm.
But making
But
that symbol, right? Like, there were
yeah,
so many goddamn dots you could have made fucking 1,000 different symbols. I didn't buy that shit.
it was it was definitely a far throw, but they used a real creature that exists in the real world supposedly. So
Hmm.
I'm 100% down for that because the Deva is a, and they even said it, a Zoroastrianism supernatural entity with, well, according to real life, there are disagreeable characteristics. But the Devas means that gods that are to be rejected.
Well, and in Zoroastrianism, like, to advance, both of your parents, like, one of the oldest religions, but, like, both of your parents need to be Zoroasters for you to fucking advance, like,
Yeah,
become a Zoroastrian or whatever the
yeah,
fuck.
it's a not. It's a religion from Iran, when it's what I mean, which is the center, the beginning of humanity. So it's one of the oldest religions ever. But
Yeah, this is Babylonian or pre-Babylonian. I don't remember.
fifth century BCE, so a long ass time ago. But that's when the Deva was written about. But and there's a lot of history to Devas actually. I mean, I'm not gonna go into all of it, but it's interesting history. It just basically means a shadow person that's vicious. Like in my mind, that's just what it is. The shadow person that's really vicious, like almost reminiscent of a demon. But I mean, it's one of the 10 demons listed in the Shahnameh. Where what that is, I'm not. I mean, it's an epic poem written between 977 and 1010 CE. But it's one of the 10 demons in it. So this is old mythology, like nothing new. But which kudos to the writers for pulling this out of that shit, because that shows they actually care about the show in the first season, because they're pulling stuff out of old stuff that no one's ever heard of. So, or at least
Well, and this was like really when they were writing this show, this was I wasn't on the internet, but I wouldn't imagine it was that easy to find. Like nowadays, you could
oh
find out
no,
shit about this with
there,
one quick Google.
when this shit came out, I literally was going on the internet, like on websites that are on the back of like food packaging, just because to see what the hell actually existed, because there wasn't a lot of websites back then. Like you actually had to like know the name of a website to go to it. There was no Google yet. Like you had
Yeah,
Ask Jeeves. You had Ask Jeeves, I think, but it didn't really do shit.
I honestly thought the internet was gonna die out and it was a fad at this point in time when they were creating these. I was so wrong.
No, because MySpace was around by this point, so I saw the future. I saw the future. But
See, no, that
uh,
like I remember we were at a party and it was the kid who was throwing the party. I was in the room and he was checking his MySpace and he was like, "Well, I'm seeing what other people are doing," and I'm like, "Dude, there's fucking 50 people at your house right now. These are the only people that matter. Why the fuck?" And I honestly thought the internet was just gonna fucking die. It made no
I,
sense. Like you're at a party, why are you checking to see what people who are not at the party are doing?
well, that's one person. That the internet was a very popular thing even back then. MySpace top 8 friends thing was a huge fucking deal in like high school back then because I was in high school back then. Like it was a big fucking deal. So
See, that's
no,
where I think we're because you're like 3 years younger than me.
along those
So I
lines, yeah.
think like I fucking left high school like well I left high school early too, but like I got out of all that shit before like right before it kicked on. So that's what I think I got
I mean,
kind of screwed up on that.
I was using the internet back in those days to do research for high school papers. So yeah, like it was different times, but yeah, I mean, so they're investigating this creature, and they're they're in a bar discussing it, and Sam runs into Meg. He recognizes a woman across the room, and as soon as he gets up close to her and you see who it is, you're like, oh, it's Meg, the girl he randomly met at a bus station like 6 episodes
Hmm.
ago or something like that. And he explains to Dean who she is at first, and not first. At first, she attacks Dean like for treating Sam like shit, and Dean's like, "What the fuck?" But eventually, when they leave, Sam explains to Dean who she is, which Dean doesn't see anything suspicious about that, which kind of like makes you be like, "What the fuck?" Like Dean should
And
have seen the
Sam
right,
is paranoid as fuck. And I fucking commend Sam for being I would have been the paranoid as fuck person. Like there's no fucking way, dude.
but basically, Sam starts following her to try to figure out like why she's there. And there's a very pervy scene with him watching her get undressed in front of a window, which why would she get undressed in front of a window? That's just in Chicago, a big city, like that's just stupid. Like you want to get watched if you're doing that shit. I'm sorry, but and it's funny as hell when that old lady like does like the like thing to him in
Yeah.
his car. Like that's funny as shit that Sam gets caught doing that. But
And he's
and
like, "No,
basically
I'm just trying to see if she's a demon. What the fuck?"
yeah, if only he could say that. But and I don't even think that's on his mind at the moment. They don't really demons are not commonplace yet in this world, so they don't really like freaking even think about demons that often. But
But he is
say,
paranoid as fuck about this girl. That was
well, he is because it's weird that she would all of a sudden show up when they're in Chicago for a case. Like unless she's connected, why would she be there? Like it's just
and the fact she was trying to not get him to go back to his brother. I think it was that Jeepers Creepers episode, right? In the
no.
apple orchard.
It was the Scarecrow episode. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
It was
And
that
she was
episode,
trying to talk him out of going to help her
and
brother.
and the fact that she was going to California, but now she's in Chicago.
Mhm.
I mean, we don't know how much time has passed in these episodes, technically, but still, it's weird. But
Yeah. Good on Sam.
Sam follows her to a warehouse, abandoned or not, I'm not sure, but a warehouse where he and kudos to Sam for climbing up a fucking elevator shaft because I couldn't do it, but he climbs up an elevator shaft and spies on her while she's at this satanic altar basically talking to her cup of blood again, and getting orders from somebody, and then he goes back to Dean and is like, "All right, we need to go investigate this and take care of this," and Dean puts in a call to good old Dad, saying, we may have a clue on who killed Mom. You need to come to Chicago. Here's the address of the warehouse." And the boys go investigate the warehouse, and they climb up the same fucking elevator shaft. Which they didn't show Sam climbing down the elevator shaft like to leave the first time, so there's got to
And
be a
like,
second.
how much noise are they making doing this? Like,
I mean, there's got to be a
you're
second
in an
entrance to this.
empty warehouse. You're gonna hear like a fucking mouse fart in an empty warehouse.
You are, and after Sam left the first time, I'm like, is there not a second entrance to this place that they could find, that they know about, that they can go up? Like, what the hell? Why are you going up the hardest way possible? Because she didn't go up that. You think she's climbing up that fucking shaft to get up there? No, she's walking upstairs or what have you. But it's one of those things that pisses you off. But she knows that she's being watched, and once they confront her, she basically makes them her bitch, and she ties them up to poles in the warehouse and starts telling them, like, and you find out that she's in control of the Deva, that she's controlling it. But eventually, Dean's trying to cut himself loose, and she stops him, like, "You think I wouldn't know you have a knife?" And he's like, "No, but you didn't think my brother had one too." And Sam cuts himself loose and then goes and tosses the altar over and breaks everything. And the Deva starts to attack Meg because, demons don't typically like to be controlled. And they will attack their controller if they get a chance. Same as the Reaper in the 5th episode. But and at that point, Dean cuts Sam loose, and Meg takes a swan dive out the window onto the street. Whether it's because the Deva made her or because she's trying to avoid the Deva, she just took a swan dive. But the boys get back to the hotel and they see someone standing in the window, and they turn on the light and see it's their dad, and all of a sudden out of
Fat
nowhere,
Negan. It's fat, poofy cheeked Negan.
well, yeah, John Winchester, you're living on the road, you're gonna not have a good diet. Come on now, but but it's John Winchester, their father, and he has a heartfelt reunion with Dean and Sam, hugging them both. Sam took a minute and he apologized for the way like their last conversation ended before the show started years ago, and they hug each other, and then all of a sudden all three of them start getting attacked by the Deva, which you thought the episode was over at this point, but it's not over at this point. And they start getting attacked by the Deva, and eventually, when John's getting slashed the fuck out of, Sam lights a flare up because he's like, "They're shadow demons, let's give them light." And he lights the fucking flare up.
Flashbang, wasn't it?
It was a flashbang, yeah. Or it could have honestly, it could have been just a flare. They were in a hotel room. It could have been just a flare. But I mean, and the demons basically, whether they're killed or whether they just go away because of the light, they disappear. And it basically is a heartfelt scene where first you see Meg walking away from it all, like, okay, she's not dead apparently, but you see her walking away from it. But first, before you see that, you have Sam and Dean, like saying, like Sam saying, "Dad, you gotta come with us. We know who killed Mom." And Dean's like, "Don't you understand? Don't you understand? He can't. We're a weakness to him. He can't come with us." Like, this is why I can't wait to see Dean voice Batman in a new series coming out this year. But because he has that Batman voice, but it's a heartfelt goodbye to John Winchester for now, as he goes off into the sunset. And the episode basically ends with them all driving away, and as Sam and Dean drive away, you see Meg watching their car leave. And that's how the episode ends.
And it takes forever for them to drive away. Like, the whole, like, getting rid of Dad thing, Dad drives away, and then Sam and Dean, they got a fucking prehistoric demon Like, how long does this flashbang last, dude? Like, hey, let's all drive to the
Well,
IHOP down the street, then we'll come up with our game plan.
not
We
even that.
almost died, but
Not even the fact. It's the fact that they're in a shadowy street after that, and like the demons could come back if they wanted to. But I think at
go
that
to a
point, like,
Walmart.
I mean, I think at that point, Meg is just like Meg realizes that John's there, and she's like, "Shit, okay, I'm done." But
Well, she tried to get John to come. That's the whole reason she.
well, I know that, but I think she realized that the boys are not. I think she realized she underestimated how the boys handle things too. So she's like, and I think she. I don't know. Maybe it took her a while to recover too from being smashed in the street like that, but because she
I
was,
think that was all fake, and I
well,
think
her
Sam and
human body.
Dean think she's dead, right?
Well, I don't think they think. I mean, they assume she's dead probably because they, but then again, they don't know what she is, so they might not. But she was. There's a lot of blood around her head. That's all I know. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of blood around her head. But overall, this was a pretty good episode. I mean, them bringing in old school demons like Devas is definitely props to the writers for even bringing that shit into the show. But
Well,
I,
that's what's
I,
kind of cool is the writer is the creator. So this is like major storyline continuity, and the creator of the actual show was the writer on this one. So
yeah, I
what's his
mean,
name?
100%.
Eric
Kripke, Kripke,
Kripke. Yeah.
Eric Kripke. He's everything he create. He's the creator of the boys too. That's why Jensen Ackles is on, and that's why uh, Sam and Castiel are coming on pretty soon. But it's he's getting a reunion basically on the boys. But it's I would give Shadow overall 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was a good episode. Don't get me wrong, but it was kind of predictable.
I would give it a 4 if Meg would have said, "You don't think I couldn't hear your loud asses climbing up that elevator shaft?" Then I would give it a 4.5. They
hmm
missed out on that opportunity.
I mean,
But like you said, she knew they were spying on
I would have given it a 4 if it was an HBO Max or Netflix show, and we saw Meg take off her bra.
it.
That's what I say.
You would have given it
That's
a
what.
5.
No, I watch a lot of horror movies. The nudity in all of them is not great. So, no. But and she's okay looking. She ain't great. She ain't great looking, but she's okay. But I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, what do we? But yeah, it was.
Compared to the, what was it, 2 episodes you and me ago, where they did the bug one and those ones like sucked ass. I
Well,
think this
no,
week was a lot better.
Bugs was Bugs was a long time. Oh yeah, Bugs was in like was weeks ago. That was in the first 10 episodes. So, but we we have a couple we have a couple Spirit episodes coming up, so that's pretty awesome. But
When's our first Christmas episode? Because that's going to come up like,
I don't think it's for a few seasons, honestly.
okay.
I
That'll
could be
be
wrong,
weird.
but I
I hope you're right with a few seasons and then it comes up like in between Halloween and Christmas. That would be dope.
I think it was like I don't know. There's only one Christmas episode I really remember, and it was. I mean, it was a good episode, but I
Yeah,
don't.
I think there's a couple. Because there's the one where they
Okay,
give each other
I,
presents.
as a very supernatural Christmas is season 3, episode 8.
Shit, dude, we might hit around Christmas if we
Well, I
season
mean,
3 episode 8. I think we'll get past the next season by the end of summer. We might hit that right on time. That would be dope.
we'll see. But yeah, I mean, as far as I can tell, that's the main Christmas episode people talk about online. But yeah, And it's the episode I'm thinking of. And that episode's hilarious. So I love that episode. I'm gonna fucking kill you, but classic. But that's it for this week, folks. We brought you 2 Supernatural episodes in review, and if you want to watch them yourselves, Supernatural's free on Netflix if you have subscription. So go check it out. It's set 15 seasons of good fun, and 16th season being teased right now. So.
And I've only seen like 12 seasons myself, so
Oh,
stay
good.
tuned for 4
Eventually we'll get to
years
the
from now.
eventually we'll get to eventually we'll get to the virgin territory for Scott. I've seen them all, but yeah, the final episode I have opinions on, but we'll get to that. But tune in next week, folks, as we tackle 2 spirit episodes, which are the best episodes of Supernatural. So
Whoop, whoop.
see you then, folks. Have a good week.
Take it easy, guys.